Hey guys, what's up? It's Drew here, and today we're going to be going through a guide on how to solo the Whisper of the Worm heroic mission. So yesterday I uploaded a very rough run and video of me soloing on heroic the Whisper of the Worm mission, just to test to see if you guys would like to see some PvE content, and honestly I was astonished with the support, so thank you guys very much. It really means a lot to me. But one thing I saw in common across a lot of comments is that you guys said you can watch gameplay, just raw gameplay, in most places, mostly anywhere, from some really good PvEers. And according to a few comments, what you guys said you want to see is a guide or commentary, a kind of look into the mindset or breakdown of what I was doing. So that's what we'll be doing today. So I cleaned up my run and my strategy quite a bit. I was able to finish the mission solo with about 4.5 minutes to spare. I think I could have done this with 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more to spare, but I took my time at the end to make sure that we got a clean run out. Just before we really begin, remember this is my strategy for this. It's not the be all and end all. It might not even be the best strategy. It's not the only strategy, but I hope it helps you guys out. It's also important to mention that this heroic mission and this guide was designed for people that already have the Whisper of the Worm and are looking to just complete their Catalyst progress every week. However, I know this doesn't mean that it won't be helpful for those of you just trying to get the weapon as well. Firstly, find a good loadout that you're comfortable with. I like using the Redrick's Claymore as well as Jack Queen King and of course the Whisper of the Worm. I like the Claymore for clearing out ads, and it actually procs Desperado off of the Axion darts at the end of the mission. I like using Jack Queen King because it's one of the highest range hand cannons in the game. And it has pulse monitors, so I don't have to reload as much. Again, you're not confined to this though. Find a loadout that you're comfortable with. One that people often like using is Better Devils and Mananin. That's pretty popular. Usually, from what I can tell, weapons with explosive rounds, kill clip, or rampage are pretty exceptional. The week I had done this, it was Solar Burn. Of course, this is going to be rotating every week. However, I'd recommend generally having a Void and Solar weapon on deck at all times. Many of the enemy's shields in the strike are Void and Solar, and even with the burn damage, it doesn't do a whole bunch to the shield if it's not a corresponding element. For me, I had a Void positive outlook in my inventory. As you can probably already tell, I'm playing on Hunter. I don't think you're confined to playing on Hunter, but for me, this was the best, most effective way to do this. Despite the Solar Burn, I found Arcstrider to be the most effective with Raid Flux. Raid Flux allows your super to last so long that you can pretty much clear entire rooms with it. However, for the jumping puzzle I've had rolling in the gameplay, I do use the Stompies, and I think a number of the jumps I do in the jumping puzzle can only be done with Stompies. So for whatever class you're playing, I definitely recommend using a movement exotic for the jumping puzzle. Just switch off the movement exotic as soon as you get to the actual enemy rooms before you enter. As far as stat splits goes, I was running 8-3-6 or something like that. I actually paid zero attention to my stat split. If you wanted to pay attention to it, I'd recommend going with something of low mobility, high resilience, high recovery for the actual engagement rooms, and the jumping puzzle I'd lean towards higher mobility. So we're reaching the end of the jumping puzzle here, and personally I'd consider reaching the final corridor with the timer at around 16:45 to 16:30 as a pretty good time, so you can use that for some indication for your own gameplay. First thing I'll say is there's little bumpers at the beginning of every room that'll try and fling you forward. Pay attention to these, and when you drop down into the room, these could really make or break your run in my experience. In this first room, the first thing I do is jump onto the rock formation on the left and take out the sniper that is across from this. There will also be a taken captain that spawns there. You want to take him out as fast as possible as well. Both of these you want to be as quick as possible. After doing this, jump forward past the captain spawn platform to another rock formation on the left, turn to the right, and there'll be another sniper to take out. You can also then jump on the first sniper's platform to take out the second captain, which is across from it. It's best to do these things as quick as possible so that the captains don't start freaking out and attacking you. If you stand at the lower left rock formation where we took out the second sniper, the second captain will usually not be able to hit you from there. After taking out those captains and snipers, if we look at the first captain spawn, right under that is a little cave that's actually a safe area. All we have to do now is take out thralls until the next wave of enemy spawns. Once the next wave of enemy spawns, you'll want to make your way back towards the second captain's platform. You want to start your first super usage here. Arcstrider should be able to clear the room from here on out. The second captain's platform has the bulk of the enemies, so try and get them as quickly as possible before they spread out. You'll want to focus on clearing vandals and the goblins that have yellow health. I'd start my route with my super from the second captain's platform, clearing that out, making my way through the middle of the room back towards the entrance and clearing all the enemies, then going through the tunnel, clearing out the enemies towards the exit of the room. This next room is very small, and again, mind the bumpers. I would generally try and get a nade in the room before fully entering and committing to it, and as well as try and play some shots in and time my movement around avoiding the bumpers when they try and launch me in. When I was ready to fully commit, I would jump through and run through the room, avoiding all of the enemies and just going straight towards the farthest most right area of the room. There's a little area that you can kind of hang out in that has a decent amount of cover that I don't think the enemies like to fully go towards too much. In this area, I would try and pop in and out, putting shots as frequently as I can. You're gonna have to play your cover because they do still attack you in this area, so try and play your cover as much as possible. Triggering the solar shield detonation with a solar weapon is something that is helpful because it'll kind of hurt a blast of the enemies, I think, a radius of the enemies. Use your nades as much as possible on these guys, and of course, do not be afraid to use your whisper ammo. In this next room, avoiding the bumpers is crucial. You'll want to time your entry so you don't get hit by the bumpers and so you can very quickly take out this knight to the left. If you do not take him out quick enough, he will spread fire over your entry platform, or you'll get hit by the bumpers, so this part really requires a lot of speed. You'll want to jump over to his platform afterwards and take out the knight across from it. Again, you'll want to do this really quickly so he doesn't spread fire onto your current platform. After doing this, you'll be in a pretty safe area. Next, you'll want to use your cover as effectively as possible to take out the hobgoblin snipers. Be careful because the wizard across from you will still attack you, and if you're playing solar burn, that does a lot of damage. After taking out the snipers, focus on the wizards. The one across from you is probably the most important. Use some nades, or you can switch to your void energy weapon if you'd like to take out the shields and clean it up with a whisper. Remember, if you die as I did here, it's not that big of a deal. Dying a few times won't make a big difference as long as you've already cleared the main priority targets in the room, which we have, so we have a safe platform with some cover here. At this point, just continue to take out the wizards and any remaining snipers in this room, and you don't have to be too much in a rush right here. Play your life and work at a pace that you're able to put damage but is comfortable for you. The next main priority that we'll be having in this room is going to be the acolytes with void shields scattered around the bottom of the room. Even when using a corresponding burn weapon, it seemed like their shields were pretty resilient overall. And I don't think this is something that we want to spend a lot of whisper ammo on. This is when I tucked into our safe area and switched to a void energy weapon to take them out very quickly. Again, I use positive outlook. I should also mention that using masterwork weapons is actually quite helpful here because it'll let you get your super faster from getting double kills. And on these acolytes, it'll help you get your super faster. I believe explosive round weapons are also pretty good here because explosive rounds do more damage to shielded combatants. They take out their shields faster. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive that's the case. After clearing the first few couple acolyte at the bottom, you can jump across to the other side of the room, and then you'll see another knight to take out. Take him out the same way with a whisper. At this point, I had my super, and the last main enemies to clear when facing the entry of the room is a wizard in the very bottom right in a cave area near a blight, and then another knight on the far left near the entry of the room. I decided to use my super here. You might not have to use it, but for me, I decided to use it. I decided to use it to clear the wizard with ease because this is an enemy that kind of has an awkward area of the room to sit in since you can use the blight as cover and go into that cave area. After taking out the wizard, I took out a few of the acolytes. Finally, the knight as well, and whatever remaining acolytes there was. Essentially, you should be able to finish off the room with this super. Before exiting this room, you can take out the blight that's on the exit of this room. Reason being is because we'll have to turn back and come back into this room once again in a moment. Choice is yours though. Upon finishing this room is also when I switch off of my void weapon and go back to my corresponding burn weapon. In this next room, there'll be 3 hobgoblin snipers to take out. One of them will be there in plain sight when looking through the exit tunnel. The other ones will require you to move through the tunnel to look up at them, in which when you move far through the tunnel, there'll be 2 taken phalanxes that spawn behind you. I usually took out 2 of the snipers, then very quickly turned around to take out the phalanxes. A few whisper shots should stagger these guys and take them out pretty quickly. Honestly, there were runs where I just went up to these guys and used my sniper like a shotgun. If they put up their shield, just aim at their foot and stagger them by shooting them. After doing this, take out the last sniper, then clear the scions in the room. You technically don't have to clear the scions in the room, however, doing so with a masterwork weapon will create orbs and get you your super faster. So if you have time to spare and you're looking for a comfortable completion, then this isn't a bad idea. Dropping down the hole in the sign and sniper room will bring you to the final boss room. You'll see a number of enemies and a lot of taken blights scattered around the room. In order to spawn the first boss, you'll have to clear the room of the current adds in it. The stronger taken Cabal enemies have arc shields, so using arc bolts, or if you really wanted to, switching to an arc weapon helps take them out. First and foremost though, what I like to do is take out the blight on the left. Taking out the blights is important in this room because the bosses can use it as cover. You can't shoot through the blights. I didn't have my super when I entered this room, and I expect that you might not either. So I would just recommend staying in the back of the room where you enter it and trying to take out enemies as best as possible without your super until you get it. Now if you're efficient enough in taking out the enemies, you clear them rather quickly, you use your whisper ammo on the stronger Cabal taken enemies, then you might not have to use your super. However, I use my super, A, because the enemies have arc shield, so it works a little more effectively against them with arc strider, but secondly, because I can go and take out the middle blight. I use my super to try and clear the majority of the enemies, pretty much all of the enemies in the room to trigger the boss spawn, but the most important thing is taking out that middle blight in my opinion. I go to take it out with my super because it's the quickest, easiest way of doing so without taking a lot of damage. The reason you want to take this out is because the taken Cabal boss likes to hide in this one for whatever reason, and it makes your run take a little longer. Remember, after taking out the enemies and taking out the middle blight, don't forget to take out that blight on the close right. You want to take out anything that can obscure your view of the boss. Again, reason being is because, as you can probably tell now, I'm going to make my way back towards the very back of the room where we enter, and now you can just sit here and use your Whisper of the Worm to put in headshots, get some refunded ammo, and take out some bosses. This is pretty much all you have to do for the rest of the run now. I had about 8 minutes to spare at this point, so it's pretty safe to say if you are at this point with a good amount of time, take your time, stay calm, play your life, and don't panic. Just focus on getting the headshots and killing the boss at a pace that's comfortable for you. You'll still be receiving some pressure from the bosses. They'll still be attacking you. You'll have your big balls of darkness or your little Axion darts. The guy that spits the fire at you, I don't know what he does. He kind of just stands there. The way I snipe when receiving pressure from these attacks, like the way it feels is each of these attacks have a travel time, so you can usually fit in 3 rapid headshots on the boss before you actually have to avoid the attack or shoot the Axion dart. So I like to count to 3 with my shots, try and get it off, and then just avoid the attack and do it again. Sometimes it's weird finding these bosses' head or critical point, especially when you have this big ball of darkness coming at you. What I usually try and use as a rule of thumb is just look for the little glint of light. Their headshot or their critical spot is just a glowing light, so I almost don't focus on the character model of the bosses and more so just where that light is and try and shoot at that, if that makes sense. Because honestly, on these bosses, I really can't see ahead, especially the Cabal guy. You really can't see ahead at all, so I just look for that little light thing and try and shoot at it, I guess. The bosses will maneuver around and will avoid you, and you may run out of ammo. Usually there'll be a bunch of ammo scattered across. If you kill a boss or any of the yellow bars, they usually drop ammo. So feel free to just go dump a life, grab ammo, die, and come back right to what you were doing and sniping the bosses. That's okay. And you'll probably have to move around to try and get around the boss trying to hide and get away from you shooting it. Otherwise, that's all I have to say about this at this point. That's my guide on how to solo this. If you're looking to do this without a fire team every week, maybe, then I hope this is useful to you. Or if you're looking to challenge yourself and have something fun to do, this really is fun, honestly, so I recommend it. If you guys want to see more PvE content like this, more guides, more breakdowns, whatever you might want to see, fun challenges, let me know, and I'll try and do it. And that goes for PvP as well. Any suggestions for videos, I am always open to. And honestly, guys, thank you for the incredible support. It's actually quite nerve-wracking uploading new content or different content, and your kind of support really speaks to me, and it's really amazing. So thank you so much. We still got the emblem giveaway going on, so if you want to enter that, you know what to do. I have it on the screen, yada yada. And thank you guys so much for watching, seriously. As usual, it's been Drew here today, and I'll catch you guys later.